Andretti on pole, Montoya alongside. A pair that has not been without conflict this year. Over the top of the hill, and here we go. Montoya drops in behind Andretti. Now Montoya tries to work the outside. Whoa, they spread wide. One car totally off. And 3 cars into the gravel pit. 4 now. Scott Pruitt down to the inside. So 4 cars in trouble on the start.
Max Pappas, Paul, on the right of the screen there.
And down in turn 2, you also have Gugelman in trouble, trying to figure out who the other is. This is entirely separate from what you just saw. So full course caution comes out immediately. Pace car will pick up the field again. Green flag is out. Montoya ducks in again. Christian Fittipaldi slides to the inside, then to the outside, now back to the end. Montoya alongside Michael. Montoya does it again as Montoya takes the lead off of turn 1. Then Michael, then his teammate Christian Fittipaldi. Juan Montoya just spun off and on the course. So all of a sudden things tighten up. Here is Montoya down at the bottom of the hill, again at station 5. Didn't lose the lead in doing that. Here's the way it looked from his seat.
Hard on the brakes from 6 all the way down to 2nd. We've got the rears locked up, Paul, but this is one of the quickest recoveries I think I've ever seen. He didn't lose much time at all in that.
Well, as he came across the line, he had 11.5 seconds on second place Michael Andretti. So he had a little time to play with, but he didn't use much of it. 41 complete, 55 the distance. Montoya feeling some heat, but at least seems to have stabilized a little bit as he holds off Christian Fittipaldi. Michael is there too.
With Montoya's being able to go up on the power, it looks now that last lap that Christian was only able to make up about 1/10 of a second. The interval on the last time through the timing lights was 1.4 seconds. Now remember, under braking, it'll look like it decreases because the speeds are lower down the straightaway, so it'll lengthen, but the time interval remains the same. But these two have now managed to pull away from Michael, a gap of about 2.2 seconds.
Fittipaldi comes up the hill as he continues his pursuit of Montoya.
And as we've watched this battle, Montoya's been able to stretch it out.
Pit now.
Has been able to stretch it out to 1.6 seconds, so he's picked up a few tenths. Montoya, as we go to the onboards every once in a while, still having a problem getting the downshifts completed, coming into these lower speed corners.
Well, it'll become a battle of the pit crews once again. You've heard the call for Montoya. Fittipaldi about 1.5 seconds back. Michael Andretti 3.5 seconds back. Both clearly within view. They're both on the way, Jan. Montoya is on the way into the pits with Fittipaldi coming right up the hill right behind him. He followed him in. Let's go to Gary Gerald. Michael came in too.
Well, here they come. We can see the lead car, Montoya. Everybody waving. All 3 of these cars right together on pit road.
Okay, nice
Will it be fuel only? There are
Reset the
tires
fuel.
there, and they immediately go to work with those high-dollar air guns. Behind them, we see Michael Andretti. So the battle in the pits is underway.
Ready? Go, go, go.
Montoya is the first to roll on 1. There goes Christian Fittipaldi. There goes Michael, just like that.
And Michael Andretti was 8.9, so they saved a little time, but did they get a spot?
They saved time. They got no spots at all. Front of the order remains the same. Fittipaldi out in pursuit of Montoya.
And as fast as Adrian Fernandez was the last few laps, if Michael did not take on tires, with the rate that Adrian was catching up to this lead group, it could create a problem for Michael in the last few laps of this race.
Now, Greg Moore is in there, but remember he stopped late last time. You expect the same thing again. Moore currently, though, has split Fittipaldi and Andretti and sits in 3rd place. Oh! He continues to struggle with the car. Now both Fittipaldi and Moore are right there.
And on full tanks with cold tires, having a gearbox problem is not what you want. Christian Fittipaldi can smell the problem now, Paul. He's going to try to pull up and do everything he can and take advantage of Juan Montoya, but Juan is unflappable. You can see he's already pulled the gap back out now, coming through the carousel, headed down towards the King.
any gears at all?
I lost all the gears. I lost all the gears.
Juan Montoya finally had the whole gearbox go. All of the leaders made routine stops. The front of the field did not change. It was Montoya, then Fittipaldi, then Michael Andretti. But then suddenly the gearbox finally let go. We had told you they were having trouble. As a result, Christian Fittipaldi is the leader. His teammate Michael Andretti is 2.2 seconds back. Christian Fittipaldi is just 5 laps away, 20 miles from a potential first win in the series. A final long straightaway run for Christian Fittipaldi, the young Brazilian out of that magnificent racing family. His uncle Emerson, his father Wilson, the crew. You think they're holding their breath in that area? Christian Fittipaldi leads it. 72 starts, 1 final turn, climb the hill. Michael is still there, but well back. It looks like it's going to belong to Christian all alone. They come up the hill. Christian Fittipaldi, the elation in that cockpit is going to be awesome.
My man!
He's finally done it. Christian Fittipaldi becomes the 7th different winner in 10 races this year.
The green flag's up. 23,000 horsepower.
And with an absolute scream, they rocket down for the first turn. But look at Tagliani. Tagliani jumps from the second row and comes to the front of the field. Down through 1, through 2, heading for 3. Tagliani leads it to Ferentz in, and it looks like Castroneves is off. Castroneves off in the gravel pit, gets it on solid ground. The rest of the field comes by. Now, just a moment ago, Christian and Michael Andretti were fighting with one another.
Coming down into turn 5, Christian looking towards the inside, and you've got to be a little farther along. He just stands on the brakes even harder if that's possible, ducks the nose in over the curb.
Wow, did you see the hands move in Michael's car to keep that car in front, though? Michael Andretti holds off the charge of his teammate. Now Tarso Marquez on the last lap. Here it was.
Coming down into Canada corner, gets it locked up, too much entry speed, slides wide, tries to stay on the throttle to keep it moving through the trap, and gets hooked in the tires.
And you may have noticed going by there in that replay was Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy has fallen well down in the field, started 7th, last time by was 19th. Jan, what's going on?
Well, I just checked with Barry Green. He said they had an electrical problem where the thing just shut down. He has since been able to reset it in the cockpit. They say now Paul is fine, but obviously he's got a whole bunch of positions to try and make up.
And right now, the driver that's on fire is Paul Tracy. Remember, he fell to the back early, and he has been marching through the field. Currently in 9th place. He'll pop up here in just a minute. He has made up enormous ground over the last handful of laps.
Paul Tracy started well back and began charging right on the first lap. Look at Paul Tracy. He is still moving, and he just got around Kenny Brack. Oh, Paul Tracy moves to 5th. Parker's talked time and time again about how we're at the point of the season where everybody has to show off a little to guarantee their future.
Coming down, hurry downs out of turn 7. Paul gets a great exit, looks to the inside, gets Kenny out of braking. Kenny says, fine. I'll try to maximize the exit, take you back on the outside, headed down into the carousel, but Paul had the inside line, kept Kenny from making the move back.
So with Tagliani as the leader, Paul Tracy into 2nd place. He got around Adrian Fernandez while we were away. We want to show you that pass because it was a nice little piece of work as well.
And I can tell you from experience, if Paul Tracy's behind you coming down into the first corner at Road America, you better be careful. Adrian tries to defend his position. Paul goes to the wall, just soars past Adrian Fernandez. This guy is driving like his contract negotiations are dependent on his result today.
What a shot. You know, though, Paul Tracy, here's a guy that you think of always driving at the limit plus, massively aggressive and everything. Everybody up and down the line reporting gearbox problems for the most part, and yet Tracy just cruises right on, charges through the field. A little comparison here for Team Green. Last year, again, like we did with Penske and Target, to this year. Again, the telling number for me seems to be down in that DNF column.
And right now, of the 10 quickest laps that have been turned in the race, Tracy has 5 of them. Currently the quickest on the track at 141.795 miles an hour.
And just 6 seconds back from Alex Tagliani. And suddenly, Tagliani, the leader of the race, slows. The leader of the race slows, pulls off course. Alex Tagliani, who was so powerful in the early going, gave the lead away to Montoya, then took it back, suddenly veers off the edge of the course.
And no indication other than we've seen a lot of gearbox failures to this point in the race. Tag had driven a perfect race, but now this man, Paul Tracy, yes, he started 7th, yes, he's currently leading, but remember on the first lap, he fell all the way back to 22nd place and has just stormed through the field.
Paul Tracy working the final lap. And at this point, he has to be feeling pretty good about it. The last move up through Thunder Valley, under the bridge at 13. The final turn, 14 ahead, still an uphill drive. He crests the hill, the checkered flags are ahead. Left and right, Paul Tracy has taken the win in the Motorola 220.
Position 1 on fuel.
Complete 5, the start of 6. Here we go.
See Cristiano D'Amato looking up the inside. DeFerrin going around Dixon, picking up a spot there.
Everybody comes through one clean. They come downhill. D'Amato working down on the inside. Elio Castroneves tries to get inside. He gets inside of Dixon. Michael Andretti closes up along the right rear of Michael Andretti's car. Now they start the run down through the woods, heading for Station 5. Kenny Rick, of course, pulls out as the lead. Tagliani stayed into second place. Scott Pruitt, they're coming to you.
Everything looks good down here. In fact, the track is drying quite a bit. Everybody side by side, pretty clean. Paul's working hard. He's got by about 4 or 5 cars already as they go up the hill. And 2-car spin. Dario Franchitti
and Oriol
Servia, both right in front of me. Both guys are going again.
So those 2 cars off in 5. Look at this. Here's Tagliani moving on the leader, and Tagliani takes the lead.
Yeah, but he's going to get him at the exit. Tag had too much speed, and look at DeFerrin taking advantage of that situation. Can't quite pull it off. Tag driving him out to the outside of the carousel there. Tag made a good move down the inside. Too much speed, washed wide. Kenny just tucked in behind him, got a better exit.
All right, now that area, they're heading for the kink. When they come off of it, they'll hit that area where the water is still running across the track. Top 3 running right together. Wow, through it clean.
Yeah, but you've got to be holding your breath as you go there, because for just a moment it goes to 0 visibility.
Toward Takagi, spins off course, back on.
Yeah, but he's
but
killed
maybe
it
with
there.
A dead engine. Whoa! Right at the water, just beyond it.
It's Max Wilson, and it looks like Brian Herta there on the right side.
Wilson and Herta, we go to full course caution. Twin yellow flags fly, yellow everywhere else on the race course.
This is interesting.
Max Wilson stays in the car. Now he starts to climb out. A very frustrated Brian Herta. Obviously, from the looks, he's blaming Max Wilson, and Max Wilson is just angry.
Coming through the mist that we talked about there where the standing water is down into Canada. Wow.
It's like Wilson just ran up and over Herta. And who was that? Is that one of the pool cars or Sinji?
That looks like
crazy.
Paul Tracy, actually.
Well, Tracy may have some damage to the back end. It looks like he got bumped.
Couple of fortunate young men there. That was probably a 170-mile-an-hour aerial routine that they did.
Green flag comes out to Kenny Breck, the remainder of the field. We do expect some of the teams to bring their cars in and go to dry tires immediately. You look up the pit road there, several of the teams are laid out. Gugelman, Franchitti, they may go. Fittipaldi, the only one on circuit on dry right now. Gugelman is in. There go the drive.
And he is going to the slick tires. And the reason, Paul, is they feel if you pit now, it turns into a two-stop race. The guys that are out there will have a three-stop strategy. We see Zanardi and Fernandez also on slicks.
Bruno Junqueira came in. Scott, they're at you. Up communications with Scott Pro, and Michael gives it a quick spin. Canan Moreno split him.
You can see where everyone's been practicing getting out of there before.
Having a little trouble with all the rain and everything with Scott's communication. We'll get him back up for you here in a second.
In these trying track conditions, Fittipaldi and the rest of the guys that have pitted are going to have their hands full getting the tires warm, but once they do, they'll take off huge chunks of time from the guys with rain tires. Michael comes in, gets nudged by Scott Dixon on the way in through the apex. Scott Dixon continues. Michael just looking for a way to get out of turn 5 safely.
Heading through the kink.
And as I was saying earlier, here's the problem. At 175 miles an hour, the downforce these cars produce, even though they've got static ride height of just over 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, push these cars all the way onto the deck, so literally the bottom is dragging on the ground. You hit that water at 175 miles an hour, it turns into a huge skateboard or surfboard, and the wheels literally are not in contact with the track for maybe a few tenths of a second, and that's a pretty hair-raising ride if you don't go across that dead straight.
Tagliani climbs the hill behind Kenny Breck. Breck goes over to the right along with Tagliani. They're looking for water to try and cool the rain tires that they carry right now.
Michael Andretti said that, we just heard this over the radio, there's no way the track's ready to go to rains, but he's afraid the burnout he just did may have killed the rain tires, obviously the rears, so these tires are that sensitive. They overheat very, very easily. There goes Gugelman.
That's one of the cars that changed over to dry tire.
And that's right where that water is, going down into Canada Corner.
Okay, Mo, we can see you there. You all right?
And the problem they face, as I've said, it's like being on very sticky asphalt. You've got great grip, and then for a very small section of the track, because the trees are over the top, it stays wet, it rains, the leaves are coming down, all of a sudden you're on ice at 175 miles an hour. Check this out. There's the water. We talked about this earlier. You've got to come across absolutely straight. He wasn't going that fast. He probably looks like he just spun the rear tires. 900 horsepower. It's pretty easy to do, even in 6th gear.
Here's the onboard camera for Mauricio Gugelman. He had actually slowed down considerably.
Coming out of the carousel, heading down to the kink. 175 miles an hour. Usually this is flat. He's just working heat back into the tires. He's being very careful through here. You can hear he's off throttle. Oh, man. Step down. Oosh. That sound is expensive.
And as you pointed out, he was totally off the throttle, and he knew that he wanted to go through there straight, not turn anything, and it still didn't work for him. Back to full course caution. They have just started the engines and restarted the race clock when they rolled out of the pits with 1 hour and 13 minutes left to go in the run of the race. 44 minutes of red flag because of the water on the backside. So, of course, these laps right now are counting from the minute they rolled out of the pits. They will have 2 laps of yellow before they go back to green flag racing. They want everybody to see the backside of the track. And here's the green flag. They're back racing at Road America. Catherine Evans leaves Patrick Carpentier down toward turn 1.
He may have backed off there because he may not have thought he had cleared it.
Carpentier looks to the outside, comes back in behind Catherine Evans.
And Carpentier had a good run there and the draft going down in that first quarter at 200 miles an hour. He'll have another opportunity to try to outbrake him going down into turn 5 where Scott Pruitt is located.
Tagliani was way over in the right side, off with the right side tires as he tried to work Christian Fittipaldi. Everybody's okay. They continue on. And they head for Scott Pruitt. Whoa, Tagliani almost gets touched.
Side by side down here.
Jourdain, Tagliani, Christian Fittipaldi all make their way through here. Everybody's getting through here. No harm, no foul.
Christian Fittipaldi makes a nice move. There's Carpentier as he goes wide. Christian comes inside, and boy, Christian is flying. He was around Breck and now around Carpentier. So Christian Fittipaldi, who scored his first win here, trying to do it once again. Oh!
Big crash in the back, guys.
Target
Big crash. Car upside down.
That
Gidley, that's a very fast section of the track coming back under the bridge. It's about 145 mile an hour left-hander.
That has immediately brought out the dual flags for the full course caution. Not so sure that might not necessitate the red, though it is off course. They should be able to get to it and get it over. They've got cranes here, Gale cranes, that will help them get to that. Jimmy Vasser in the cockpit. He's okay.
Look at the tire marks on the way in.
That is the car driven by Mimo Gidley on the 21st lap. Mimo was running 8th at the time. Coming up through turn 13, he lost the back end just slightly. As he corrected, he drove at an angle into the wall that is the bridge abutment on the right-hand side of the track.
Accelerates out of Canada corner, 85 miles an hour, up to 145 miles an hour into the blind left-hander.
Green flag comes out for the leader, Elio Castroneves. Carpentier moves to the outside. Gilles de Ferran moves to the inside. Carpentier almost touches wheels with Castroneves. Down the hill they go. Here comes Cristiano D'Amata. He's looking for room too. Tagliani is behind D'Amata. Then Max Pappas closes in. And down through the woods they head for Scott Pruitt. Scott?
Everything's looking good. Got him on ahead and taking a big look on the outside. Can't quite get it done. Cristiano D'Amata taking a look at de Ferran. No problem as they work their way through turn 5. Everybody got through here nice and clear and clean.
Everybody comes up through 6, no problem.
De Ferran, Castroneves, and also Carpentier. All 3 of them are in. Fueling is complete. De Ferran rolls first. Here comes Cristiano D'Amata. De Ferran is out. Castroneves beats out Carpentier. Oriol Serbia rolls by, as does Roberto Moreno.
Oh, what a wonderful battle of the crews. But take a look at this. Here's Christian and Michael as they go together for the lead. And sliding down on the inside is Junqueira.
So my group's going to win. I think that was Junqueira coming through. Andretti had gone by Junqueira on that last lap. Got Fittipaldi going down, but then it was Junqueira that held back, and now he's looking for his first win in the kart series. Could Elkhart Lake produce another first-time kart victor?
And there was a lot of action down here in turn 5, and it looks to me like Christian has some damage to the left front of his car. They had pretty hard contact between the 2 cars, Michael and him on the way by.
Well, definitely Christian is out of it. He's pulled the car over and with the canted left front tire, had no steering at all, just kind of rubbed it up against the wall. Here it is, Parker.
Coming into turn 5, Mike says, I'm diving inside of you. I've got the inside of the corner, a bit of rubbing, and now he can't make the corner. Junqueira very nicely maximizes his corner exit speed, stays out of trouble, and says, Yahoo, come on, baby. I had that pole at Nazareth. Will this be my first win? This couldn't come at a better time for him.
And of
as
course,
the silly season's in full swing.
Both Fittipaldi and Michael Andretti were battling for the lead of the race, given to the pit stops at that point. That's your race trying to come forward. There's Chip Ganassi, who's had devastating destruction to one of his cars, injury to his driver, Mimo Gidley today. Now looks at his rookie, Bruno Junqueira, in the lead of the race as the clock continues to count. Bruno Junqueira, the final turn of the final lap for this fine young rookie, an almost shy driver with a great smile, a great personality, good sense of humor, becomes the 9th different winner this year. Don't wave too much. You're still going 200 miles an hour.
Great job, laddie. Great job.
Allmendinger is the leader, gunning for his 5th win of the year. Will Power making his final stop of the day. There's the gap back to Bruno Junqueira in second. Best news of the day for Allmendinger was when Junqueira got by Bourdais. Now he's got some cushion there, and Allmendinger will keep the championship fight alive, Derek. He needed to have Bourdais, or Bourdais needed to gain 7 points on Allmendinger with a 70-point lead leaving here. It does not look as though it will happen today for Sebastian Bourdais. Power to pass time from the Cosworth. Ford folks, left side of your screen. Halen's got a lot. Power's got quite a bit. Junqueira's got a good bit of power to pass time left. 23 seconds. Bruno really hasn't used much yet. Allmendinger has burned up all of his. Bourdais has one burst left. 8 seconds remaining in the McDonald's car number 1.
Well, the fastest man on the warm-up was Junkie. Bruno Junqueira. I don't know in the next 5 or 6 laps whether he can run down Allmendinger. It looks to me as if Allmendinger is in control right now.
Allmendinger has the 1 pole this season, but the 4 wins, the big stat since he joined Forsyth Championship Racing. And this will solidify at least second in the championship for him because Justin Wilson is mired back and forth, 6 seconds back. And the CDW 9 car just hasn't really shown any speed to get up and contend for the win here today. For 6th, Catherine Legg and Dan Clarkin. They've had quite an interesting battle this year. They tangled a couple of times early in the season at Houston and in Monterrey, Mexico. They put that behind them. Great day for Catherine Legg. Dan Clark wants to salvage. Oh, huge crash. Huge crash. Oh, no. Huge incident. Huge incident.
It's Catherine.
Is it Catherine Legg's car? The PKV car number 20. Lots of shrapnel on the racetrack. Full course yellow. Huge crash. The safety team from Champ Car quickly on the scene.
There is the flap off her rear wing that comes off at about 160 miles an hour. And she just absolutely wallops the wall backwards. The car climbs the fence immediately and begins to roll. But here's the big one. She hits it so hard. Look how high the car goes. Breaks the engine and gearbox off. And she comes out to smile.
Allmendinger by 8 car lengths over Junqueira. Bourdais is 3rd.
No. You'll not beat Allmendinger from that far behind on the last lap.
That Forsyth INDYCAR team and that 7 car with their young driver A.J. Allmendinger, they have been perfect here in the second half of the season. Flawless run today. For 2nd spot, Bourdais trying to put a move on his teammate. Now does Bruno defend the position?
Oh, kicks up the dust, trying to defend the position.
A.J. Allmendinger rolling to victory lane after a red flag stop. Bourdais on the button.
Your dream ride, but great job with it, Hot Rod. Way to go.
A.J. Allmendinger. You heard Michael Cannon call him Hot Rod on the radio. Allmendinger bags his 5th win of the season. His first start in the Champ Car Road America came right here. And Allmendinger gets the victory.
IndyCars are back at Road America, and it's time to bring the action.
It's a late start. It's a late start.
Dixon tucks in behind. Will Power now drops out. Look at them weaving and diving and ducking. Pagenaud is up to 3rd. Graham Rahal, great start. Kanaan tried to push it with power.
Tony Kanaan takes a look up the inside, but most importantly, he keeps Pagenaud in 4th place behind him as they come to turn 3.
Inside, Carlos Munoz in that red and white car. Dives to the inside of Ryan Hunter-Reay, pushing him a little wide. Max Chilton's in the mix. Daly gets out wide.
Oh, Connor Daly had a good run going up the outside, but a big bobble as he hit that divot. Now he's under pressure from
5
Bourdais.
wide on the back straightaway. Montoya up against the grass. This is going to be sketchy.
Wow. They were diving for positions, maneuvering, positioning, and around goes Jack Hawksworth in turn 5.
Oh, what's going on with Dixon?
Dixon's got a puncture.
Dixon's got a problem.
He's got a puncture, I think. Look at the yellow car, ailing.
This is disastrous. He's got to go the whole way around the track. This tire, by the time... Engine fire.
Oh, disaster for Scott Dixon.
This is
The
devastating.
man 2nd in the championship. The reigning series champion trying to hunt down points leader Simon Pagenaud while dueling for the lead of this race. This could be terminal.
Graham Rahal, your leader, down on pit lane.
Enrico Nault just told him have a great in-lap. He comes in after assuming the lead as others pit. We'll be watching as they come back in, where he cycles back in. No changes. Playing for Rahal as he goes from alternate reds to the primary Firestone Marty.
Championship leader Simon Pagenaud comes in running second. They're going to put on sticker primary tires for Pagenaud. Waiting on the fuel a little bit at 7.9 on the stop. We'll see where everybody cycles out. But these drivers were screaming for new tires at the end of that run, as you might imagine. And note this for later. These drivers were able to make it last 14 laps. That'll help the final stints as well as we cycle out here.
And that strategy of staying out an extra lap really served the Rahal team well.
And what I love about that strategy, guys, is by going 13 laps rather than 12, it allows him to move his fuel window to later in the race being able to burn more fuel on that final stint where you really have to put your ears back and go for it.
Graham Rahal leapfrogging Tony Kanaan of Chip Ganassi Racing for that second spot. So it's about a 5-second deficit at the moment between Power and Rahal. We'll monitor that. Kanaan, then Pagenaud and Castro Neves. And look at this. Have you seen such nose-to-tail racing in such a long time? This is terrific stuff. Yes, it might be further down in the top 10, but this is hard IndyCar racing.
Hinchcliffe still battling with Marco Andretti, and they're battling with Gabby Chavez at the back of the field. But here we are with Graham. He's jumped ahead of Tony Kanaan. Tony's on hot tires. Might have a chance to close here with push to pass, and he's on it. He's got to stay flat in the kink. He's on that push to pass. Look at him come.
Here we go.
Look at that.
The run down to Canada corner. This is at over 180 miles per hour. Great move, Tony Kanaan.
About 50 horsepower is what you receive with the push to pass, and Kanaan used every bit of that for his benefit.
The team loved it as much as we did. What a move. Connor Daly's on turn one. Is that outside turn one, or is it outside the carousel?
It was a fast corner. I'm going to guess that was turn one at the exit.
Oh,
yes.
Connor Daly. The race was going so well.
Now he was battling with Hunter Ray and maybe Montoya.
Contact between somebody, because it's not a common place to spin and get that far off the track.
Hey guys, the 28 team, Ryan Hunter-Reay just radioed in and said it looked like he had a puncture or something, but it didn't come from me. And on the stand, Ray Gosselin said, yeah, it looks like there was something wrong with that left rear.
Something blew. You see that rear pod on the left. See that go there?
Yeah, suspension broke.
Oh, yeah. It broke.
Yeah, no.
Looks like the left rear completely failed. So no fault of Connor Daly's. That's just the worst of all kind of failures at terminal velocity.
Power, Pagenaud, Kanaan, Rahal, Castro Neves, Kimball, Hunter Ray. Where did JPM come from? Juan Pablo Montoya. That yellow assisted him, but he was making his way back through the field well before that.
Hunter Ray taking a look, and this has been the part of the race, the part of the battle that has been so intense, 7th through about 11th, all race long. Montoya's been in the thick of it for the whole race. As you see your Firestone data, watch Montoya. He'll be wide open on the throttle through the kink, and everybody knows this is my last chance in this race perhaps to make up any spots.
And he's made a move at this part of the circuit before he went out on the grass. One way on Rahal, the other way on Pagenaud. TK, the veteran, Tony Kanaan is on fire.
Superhero move. He could close the gap to Power now on the Reds. Are so much quicker, but he's got about a second and a half behind. 5 laps to go. 10 miles. We've got a lot of racing, 20 miles of racing to go.
Townsend, you love the fact that Kanaan has done Ironmans and triathlons most of his career. This is an Ironman performance.
Well, watch this.
Look at this. Look at this.
Graham Rahal on Pagenaud, and Pagenaud right now is getting chewed up on the straights.
The Reds are so much faster now that the track is rubbered up. Pagenaud has lost 2 positions in 1 lap.
Remember this gap, Power to Kanaan, 2.5 seconds. We'll continue to monitor it. Down to turn 8 and getting ready. Half a lap left to go. Tony Kanaan hasn't won a race in a season and a half. Fontana 2014 was TK's last victory. Carousel for the final time.
I'll tell you what, it's gotten a lot harder for Power this last half of the race. The last 10 laps, it's been a struggle. He had everybody covered earlier.
One more push to pass used for Will Power.
And that's his last one, and look at what it delivered for him. Look at the gap that 3 push to passes earns you over 1 lap. 2 corners to go for Will Power. Now he's out. If Tony Kanaan can close, he might have a chance up the hill.
2 more corners left. Tony Kanaan, what a race weekend he's put together, but not quite enough at the end. The Cola Grand Prix is won by Will Power for Team Penske. Detroit and now Road America. Will Power said today, I can win this championship, and he most certainly has taken a big step